So, where are we? Where are you to start things?
Where are you, John?
Yeah, John, we want to hear from you.
What? Where are we? God damn it.
I don't know. Had a thought? Not just me, you, anybody had a thought about this stuff?
I'm gonna run something by you.
Okay.
Sometimes in scenes, and I've seen people do it, and sometimes it seems to work out good, sometimes it doesn't. But where no matter what the other person presents, the one person just doesn't go with it. We're always taught to kind of go with it a little bit, but the other person just doesn't. They just keep not going with whatever's presented.
Right.
But sometimes it turns out to be really funny that they're being that way.
Of course.
And I don't know the etiquette on that when it's okay to just completely not take the ideas, not take the shiny objects from your partner, and just kind of go on your own little, totally separate little rampage, and not really, not to be ignorant about it, but just to do something completely different for no apparent reason.
The etiquette is it depends on who you are. If you're David Rosowski and someone does that to you, you're gonna get fucked.
Get spanked.
If you're an inexperienced improviser and someone does that to you, you will probably just lie down and let yourself be steamrolled. And so I think the right thing is anything in between. My feeling about that sort of thing is that over time, if this same person, and has happened, the same person does that over and over again, people in general are going to be less likely to step into scenes with them. When they're out on the stage, people are just not going to come off the back line as easily because they just fuck you. And they're going to wonder why they're standing out on the stage by themselves. So that's one piece of etiquette. But I think another thing is it depends. In every show, there should be a director. If there's not, if you're just a group of people doing your own little thing, and there's no hierarchy, there's no person to oversee it and say, hey, afterwards give notes and say this is what was done and this is what could have been done differently, then you're going to keep having that problem. The director is somebody who's supposed to stand up for what's right, and he's your advocate. So you don't have to be that asshole who complains and says, oh, you screwed me over in a scene. The director should, in a diplomatic way afterwards, give everybody notes. And here's what I saw. Here's what was great. Here's something individually for each of you that was great, and maybe something that we need to work on, something that wasn't so great. And these are not points that are up for discussion. It's not a chat. This is, you're being told something. You can take it or leave it, but the football coach is telling you, next time I call a 3-yard down and out play, I want you to go 3 yards down and out. Don't head for the fucking goalpost. And there's no discussion. That's just the way it is. And the next time you head for the goalpost on a down and out play, you just won't be put in the game, and you probably be traded to Cincinnati. And that's it. So I don't know. In the moment, the etiquette is, if that's what's happening, you just have to go with it. There's nothing you can do. You can't cure asshole by yourself on stage. And if somebody, is it funny? So what? If I broke a chair over your head, maybe some people would laugh. Maybe that's funny. But is that what we do? So if somebody's throwing you under the bus, just realize you don't want to be under the bus. Talk to the director.
So how do you do that? How do you do that with your group, Tom? Like when you're with your group and you're performing on stage, are you acting as the coach while you're performing, or how do you evaluate your team, like while your teams?
It depends on the show, and it depends on what it is I'm asking people to do. If I'm asking them to do something that I know is difficult, certainly give everybody more leeway. But if we are if we're doing something, if we got 25 minutes on stage and we've got stuff that we're supposed to do, and we are just completely throwing out, somebody is completely throwing out all the things that we've worked on in rehearsal, all the things that we discussed. We always discuss things just before we go out on the stage, specific things. We don't load people down with it, but it's like, remember, ground the first, in this particular piece, ground the first two scenes, make sure that they don't have anything to do with one another, and then start to make the tent poles. Ready? Let's go out. Like a huddle. And if someone just doesn't fucking do it, I will ask them personally later on, not in front of anybody else, why they didn't. And if they just say, I just didn't think of it, well, you were just told it a millisecond before you went out. So either you just don't care, or you're not very smart, or you were just nervous. If you're nervous, stick to the fucking plan. If you're not smart, you're probably not on my team. And if you don't care, you're definitely not on my team. So it's probably nerves. But we talk about it, and then but we don't get depth into it in depth because people's emotions are still. But then the next week in rehearsal, that's when we solve stuff. That's when it's like, okay, here's what we saw, and here's now we're going to work on it. Because what are you going to do after the show? What are you going to do? You tell people this, and that. What are you going to do? It's a week before they get a chance to solve the issue or even work on it. So, hey, you had a good time. It was a fun show. Quick notes. In rehearsal, I'm going to fucking drag your ass over the coals, because these 5 people are doing what we're supposed to be doing. You're not. You're the weak link. I'm not fucking around. This may be comedy, but I don't think this is a joke. And somebody who pays $15 to come see a show probably doesn't think it's a joke either. And somebody who's pays hundreds of dollars to take a class and has everything that they've learned thrown out the window by one person on the stage probably doesn't think it's a joke either. So to me, comedy's not a joke any more than if we were doing Shakespeare. So that's how we deal with it. That's how I deal with it. And if the director isn't doing that, talk to the director. If the director is still not doing that, there's got to be somebody above the director, the person who runs the entire troupe, the owner of the theater, whatever the fuck it is, or talk to other members and say that this is just not working for me and this is why. A lot of times people do shit like that and they don't realize they're doing it to you. They think they're doing a great job, and they can't believe that you don't think that what they're doing is helpful. They're not doing it on purpose. If I was stepping all over something, if I was doing something on the stage and someone came to me afterward and said, hey, you did this, and this, and it really fucked up my game, and I would be happy to hear that so that I could not do it the next time. It wouldn't affect my ego. I don't give a fuck. I just want to get it right. So people should want to hear, hey, you did this and it didn't work for me. That's thank you. I won't do it again.
I could see where that could really like fuck with somebody's ego, like some macho dude or something that is just like, oh, I'm so funny, I'm so funny, I'm so funny. And then like what you said, winding up out on the stage alone, like,
yeah.
Then
I would think that
having notes normally like when they, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I would think that would like weed.
Excuse me 1 minute.
Go ahead.
That if that happens, I would think that would be like a natural way of thinning the herd. Like eventually that person would just kind of be squeezed out.
Well,
if they don't fix it. I mean, it sounds like
in a perfect world, yes, but you know what happens is that, and I've seen this, and usually it's guys, but it's not just guys. I know women who do it too, who are the class clown, and they're the ones making all the noise, and newer people tend to gravitate towards that because they sound confident and they sound like they really know what they're doing because they're always funny. But so they wind up with a following. It's like a band that has a guitar player that really looks great and has a great looking guitar, just can't play it very well, but he's popular. And you're gonna throw him out? All the girls come to see him. He can't play a fucking note, but they sell more beer when he's in the band. So what are you gonna do? So these people don't take a hint. They don't leave. People like us
Is this my hint?
leave. No, people like us
Yes,
leave.
Lauren, I feel added.
We're the ones who say, I can't take this clown shit anymore, and we
How
go.
did you get the audio turned on?
Seriously, have you seen that? I have. It's never the problem that leaves. It's those people who see the problem.
Yeah.
They leave.
Tom, what about like maybe not as like maybe not as like dramatic as just not accepting anything, but what about like someone comes on and paint you like, you know, you're a pink pony with shoes on and I choose not to accept it? You know, how far can I take it before I choose just not to accept what's given to me? Or I understand, like I was kind of taught that you're always just accept it, but what if do I have any freedom to choose a different path?
Well, I happen to know that there's a section of a really interesting book that deals with this exact thing. And one of the things that the brilliant guy who wrote it said was from experience, was from something that he was told by a really great improviser. A bunch of us were up in Chicago years and years ago doing a show, taking a 3-day workshop just for the 5 of us with this great fucking improviser who's out in LA now. And so we had this incredible access to this person, and then we did a show on the last night that we were there. And he gathered us together outside afterwards, and gave us notes and talked about stuff. He's just a fucking wonderful teacher, and name was Levin O'Connor, and he said that that there are going to be people in your troupe who are there for different reasons, and we had this one person who every time there was a scene, she was a magical unicorn, or she was a magical fairy, and she was sprinkling fairy dust, and she was a witch. She insisted on doing that sort of thing, and everyone else didn't want to fucking do that. But what he told us was that everyone's got this thing that they want to do. Tom, maybe you want to be this. Maybe this person wants this kind of thing. Maybe. So what you do is you try to figure out what everybody really wants individually, and you ask them. You try to figure it out. You have a discussion, and you make sure that every once in a while everybody gets what they want. So every once in a while we're all fucking fairy, princess, unicorns. Give it to them, and then maybe they'll give you the other thing that you want. Maybe you're the 2 lonely people who meet at a bus stop. Maybe they'll do that for you. So try to be aware of what other people need and occasionally give it to them, hoping that they'll give you what you need, which should almost not even need to be said, but I guess it did.
I like that.
It stuck with me, and this was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me because I really was at the end of my rope with this person. Smart person. And when she wanted to, she could really do good improv. But she just got up on a stage and basically seemed to feel that, hey, we can be children again when we do improv. So I'm going to be a fairy princess, and I'm going to make you a magical horse. And so it's like, okay, every once in a while, that's what we got to do. Give it up.
Did it ever get better?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Another thing that helped I did this a few times. I think I mentioned this. I did this a few times. Once people in a group get to know one another pretty well and work together, I had everybody pick everybody else's name from the group out of a hat. And for an hour in our rehearsal, you had to act like and improvise like them. And so if you picked Joe's name or whatever, everyone knew you were Joe, and you had to act like Joe. You had to do Joe's improv. You had to, and everyone was doing everyone else, so you could see how everyone saw you.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Well, there was one woman who broke down in tears, and just couldn't take it. And oddly enough, the portrayal of her was not anything out there. It was pretty mild, but she just could not look in that mirror.
I think part of it too comes from like that insecurity, because like, you know, a lot of times when people get on stage and do that, it's kind of that defense mechanism that they're going to. And so, you know, when you start to build rapport with your group and things like that, I feel like it's not as tempting to do that, because you know you've got a teammate out there that's going to support you versus just someone you just got on the stage with, you know?
Yeah. Well, we would never do this in front of an audience. I mean, this is just for us. This is just a little thing, just to answer your question.
Do it.
I mean,
I'm in.
How do I see myself? How do I know what I'm doing? Oh, is that what I do? Holy shit. I found it very illuminating when they were being me. I thought it was like, oh fuck, I better stop doing that, you know, or do that differently.
But it's just one person's portrayal of you.
It's true, but the fact is that when they do it and everybody laughs,
It's
that
universal.
it's that,
True.
yeah,
True.
that's him, all right. Yeah, and
True.
but then you get to get up and do it to someone else, and it's hilarious as long as you don't take yourself too fucking seriously.
Yeah, I feel like it would, no matter how I tried to be someone, it would be like an exaggeration to them just to kind of get the point of them across. Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to mock them perfectly. It would have to be kind of like an over
you know what?
figure of them.
The more perfect, the more it hurts. The less over the top it is, and the more exact it is, the little nuances that they get. That is like, oh fuck, I do that with my hand. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Can we please do this activity when we come back?
I'm in.
Yeah.
It would work for us because we know each other. You can't just do this with people who've only been together a couple of months, because we don't know each other's tendencies yet. But
Yeah.
for sure. And
Yeah, because you know the intentions are different. Like when you know each other, you know that it's like, it's not out of a place of like malice.
Very true. Very true.
Some affection there.
Yeah. It was risky to do it. I did it in Miami, and I did it a few times up here, and everyone always said they liked it. And I think they liked doing it as long as it wasn't them being mocked. But it clears up a lot of bad habits really quickly.
Yeah, I know. Just watching yourself do something, like a videotape of yourself, clears up a lot of stuff. Just because you see the way you stand, your hand can always be a similar position. But that, you know, like that's one way of doing it. And this would be, you know, someone else actually doing it. You know,
this magnifies it.
It's one thing to notice it about yourself, but to have other people notice it too, then it becomes more of a reality what you actually already noticed.
And what are they going to do?
I was going to say, this is kind of weird now, because I watch my own reactions to everything, which, you know, normally you don't see your own reactions to things as it's happening behind your eyes. But now you kind of see your face and kind of really, well, I've got a weird smile and stuff. You know,
So, Gary, you watch yourself the whole time?
I am now, honey.
That was quick.
Yeah, like I said, that's the thing I've done. But ever since that one time when this one woman who, she just couldn't take it. She was really upset, like beside herself. I'd stop doing it because it's just not worth it.
Can we have psych evaluations and then do it?
I think we should do it twice. One at the beginning of the night, and then one after we leave the bar.
No, do it the Irishman.
No, what we should do is everybody mock and imitate the one person who doesn't show up at the bar. That's the way to do it. That's the way to get a good crowd to come out and drink.
I love that.
We're going to be mocking you, and we're going to be videotaping it.
It'll be Lee almost every week.
I like it. I love it when they do that to me. I do love it when they do that to me because I'm often directing or teaching, so I'm the one guy who doesn't get notes, which really I've talked to other people like who are teachers and directors and stuff, and they all say the same thing. It's like I'm not getting the vitamins out of this that everyone else is. My game is slipping because no one is grabbing me by the scruff of the neck and saying stop doing this and start doing that. So I don't mind it at all. Really, I need it.
Rather than just one person do one person, if everybody does one person, everybody does one person. Because first of all, it's hard
for an hour.
It's hard to mimic someone. It's hard to do someone. So it's practice in trying to mimic someone in themselves. But if everyone does it, just to see who can get closer, who's variations, it might be neat just to try to.
There isn't enough therapy left to deal with all that.
Yeah, no, that would be really hard. Everyone will be against you.
Yeah, if Caligula did improv, that's how he would do it.
I didn't get that.
Oh my God.
I will.
That's sadistic. Yeah. So we'll do it.
Yeah, you got to sit in the chair in the front and just watch.
Right.
I think it's interesting what you said about the directing part of it, because I know from my experience as a director, not of improv, but as a director, it's a very lonely place to be, because you have this group who are bonding and working together and playing off each other and creating whatever it is, and you're the one that has to have the answers and the vision and all these other things, and there's no one to bounce that off. Really, you kind of, I find, flying by the seat of your pants, and it does become a lonely place. And it's and the feedback you do get tends to be a group humiliation feedback, because they're all telling you at the same time if something's not working. So it's challenging. It can be very challenging, and it's good to get that feedback as the person sort of standing outside of it.
And plus, you're also the killjoy. You're also the one. Everyone's having a good old time. They think they're doing great, and you're the one who's got to say that was fucking awful.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you forgot everything that we talked about. Was it funny? Yeah, it would have been funny if you brought Jell-O and threw it at one another, but it's not what we do.
Yeah,
so you got to be the asshole.
Yeah. The last show I did, we had a really horrible run through, and I started by saying, I've made a few notes, but I've formed them in the shape of the suicide notes, which I think kind of drove the plan home. Yeah.
Well, I was often more when we used to do musical improv. It was a 2-hour musical improv show, and we would get together. The show would start at 9. We would get together at 6:30 and do a full 2.5-hour run through of a show, of all the pieces that we were going to do in the show. So really, on an musical improv show night, we were doing musical improv for like 5 hours or more. So always in the first piece from 6:30 to 8, we'd fuck it up. It wouldn't be very good, and I would point it out, and I'd say, "Listen, this is true in sports. It's the way it goes. Bad rehearsal, great show. It's always that way. If you get it all out of your system, you've done all that. Now you're not. Now you're too tired to be thinking anymore, which you shouldn't be doing in anyway. Now it's just going to come out automatically. Bad rehearsal, good show. So in rehearsals where we see that we're not doing things great, yes, I point it out to people, and I sometimes I get pretty upset and insulting. Not insulting like you're an asshole, but insulting like, what are you doing? You know, I'm not a golfer, but I've played golf, and someone once told me, he was really a Zen golfer kind of guy. He said, put the ball down on the tee, go up to it, and hit it. Don't take any practice swings. Why waste your best swings on air? Because all the practice swings in the world, you're still going to step up to the ball and do what you would have done anyway. So just step up to the fucking ball. No practice swing. Just hit the fucking thing. It's going to be your best swing. And he was right. From then on, I never took a practice swing. Put the ball down, hit it. No preliminaries, no warm-ups. That's why I don't like warm-ups. One of the reasons I don't like warm-ups. Save it for the stage. You have to practice this. I mean, do surgeons before a heart operation say, okay, we're about to cut into this guy, zip, zap, zop? They just don't fucking do it. Why do improvisers?
No, but they really should.
So teams without a director, do you feel like they just go nowhere, or?
No, I don't feel that way. It depends on who they are. I was part of a team for a while. I left the team to join Sick Puppies way back when, because the team used to play at JTF, rehearse on Tuesdays, and there was no director. The team was called Special in a Bad Way, and there was no director. Nobody was above or below anybody else, and every week, or however, 2 weeks or whatever it was, a different person would take charge of running the rehearsal, but just to do the mechanical stuff. But we would vote in this like a matrix thing, in like on this software.
Excel spreadsheet.
Some kind of a spreadsheet. It was a spreadsheet. We would vote on which sketches we thought should be in. We would vote on this and that, and everything was done by consensus, and it worked. It wouldn't have. It worked because the people in that group didn't let just anybody in it. They let people in the group who they thought would be able to get along in a system like that, and it was wonderful. I really enjoyed it because I felt zero pressure. I didn't feel like I had to run anything. Like I didn't have to make any decisions. I didn't have to tell anybody shit. I could just show up, do improv. And it was wonderful. But there were other groups that tried that, and it just didn't work because nobody bothered to tell them, hey, what you're doing sucks. Don't do that on a stage. So it depends on the group. I don't think a director would hurt, but once again, it also depends on the director. You could have a shit director who doesn't tell you the right things, who's just out there to have fun and make funny happen and be everybody's pal. That's not going to work either. You can't be everybody's pal if you're a director. You don't have to be an asshole, but you can't just massage everybody. If you're a director, you got to be the one who says, no way. So you got to be willing to be unpopular.
Would a director be in charge of like everything, practice times, getting everyone together? Is a director just in charge of the show? Like, is that what you mean by director, or he would be in charge of everything? He would be like the leader of the group, basically.
Well, yes. The director should run rehearsals, should plan rehearsals. Theoretically, the director should determine who joins or doesn't join the group, or who is in or who's out. The director should be the one who determines who's going to be in what piece. This person probably shouldn't be in a narrative. This person probably shouldn't be in this other short formy thing we're doing. These two people probably shouldn't be a duo yet. So it's man management or human management, but it's also logistics. Like you probably shouldn't put 4 narrative pieces together in a show. You should probably do the 2-person thing, and then a 4-person thing, and then a 3-person thing, and then musical, and then bop, and then you should have a sense of how to build a show. So, it depends on how much latitude the director has. I've always had full latitudes. So is Casey. So is anybody I know who directs. You are there to make it possible for improvisers to do their very best work. That's it. To succeed. You're there for them to do their best work and to feel like they've succeeded. That's how I see it. You know.
Is that what you're saying your latitude is? What does that mean?
The amount of the amount of things I'm allowed to influence. Am I allowed to influence who's in the group? Am I allowed to influence what we do? Am I allowed to influence how we dress? Am I allowed to influence what we rehearse, what our philosophy is, and what style of improv we do? Influence, not mandate. It still has to be what people want to do. If the director's telling you to do X, Y, Z, and you're like, I don't fucking want to do that, then change the director or change the group you're in.
Have you ever had to fire one?
Fire a director?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we have. I was an owner down in Miami for years and years, and manager and all that. And in fact, I was for a few years. I was artistic director.
Yeah, the last improv class that I was in before Sick Puppies, I ended up leaving that class because like our director just didn't know how to like manage the room properly. And so it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah. The director has to be your advocate. Things like you go into the theater. Is the sound working? Are all the lights working? Are all the switches working correctly? Are the doors locked or unlocked? Yeah, all that stupid little shit. I'm trying to help you succeed. And yes, we have had directors who, not at Sick Puppies, but we have had directors who can't do that. Who just see themselves as it's like they're playing school when they're little kids, and they just like to stand up and tell everybody what to do, but they don't really have a plan. So you do have to get rid of them. And when a show doesn't work, it's the director's fault. An improv show. When an improv show doesn't work for some reason, if I'm directing it, it's my fault. It's my fault. It's not the fault of anybody on that stage. Nobody. They're all doing the best they can. I didn't plan it right. I didn't put the right people together. I didn't count on chemistry. I didn't stage the show correctly. I didn't check to see if the lights were working properly. It's my fault. Always. It's never the improviser's fault ever.
Hey Tom, on that note.
What's that? I'm sorry, Lauren?
Oh, I mean, I get that you're in charge, but it's a lot of people acting on your behalf.
Nobody's acting on my behalf.
To take the fall for it all.
But that's
I just feel like that's a lot of pressure.
That's the job. That's the job of a coach. You know, when they look up of a manager or a coach's stats, they look up wins and losses. Who gets the wins and the losses? He fucking does. In baseball, who gets a win or a loss? The pitcher. Nobody ever talks about shortstops and says, well, he has 5 wins and 3 losses. It's just the fucking pitcher gets the wins and the losses. Somebody is got to be in charge, and that means taking responsibility.
And the thing about directing on any level is if you do it really well, nobody knows you're doing anything. It's unseen.
Well, that's management in general.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You only know when it screws up.
Yep.
Well, I was just going to ask, like in a lot of things, there's like adjustments. You make adjustments. So have you ever like pre-planned the show and then the show's going on and maybe let's say a couple people are getting, I don't know, more energy or this, that. Do you ever change it up or move it around or switch places?
Always.
Always?
Always. It's always built that way. It's always built, at least when I build a show, it's always built so that there's a few more things in it than we need, because it's always easier to take things out than to put things in. Like one night, I love this. One night it was down in Miami, and this couple walked in, and each of them were carrying a little baby in a carry thing, like a little carry seat, infant. And they said, is it okay? I said, sure, of course, come on, sit in the front row. That way you'll have more room. So they put the carry seats down, and the babies slept through the whole thing. They didn't make a sound. But I'm looking at these 2 babies from backstage, and I said, oh shit, I got to do something with this. So I walked around and I crept up to the front row, And I asked the parents very quietly while the show was going on. I asked them very quietly, "Would you mind if we borrow your babies?" And they said, "Sure, go ahead." So
No.
I went backstage and I set some stuff up while the show was going on. I had 2 microphones back there. So what we did was we took the babies, we picked them up, put them on stage facing the audience. They were still half asleep by themselves. We walked off stage, and then 2 of us backstage did voiceovers as the babies talking to one another about the show.
Oh, that's great.
And
That's really
Carol, what do you
good.
think? I don't know. This show's kind of going on. for a
exactly.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
You know, that kind of actually reminds me of something what you just said that I meant to ask you, but I forgot. I think a few weeks ago you said that, or did I read that in a book? I think I might have read it in one of the books. There was about that people who do improv are really people that are awkward in real life or find awkward social interaction in real life. And you made the comment a few times that you're kind of like socially awkward in the real world.
No, I guess I am.
And so
Yeah.
I know me personally, I'm what is it?
No, it's true.
Yeah, so I know me personally, I hate one-on-one conversations. Like I feel much more comfortable in front of 20 people than I do one person. So
That's not me, but
right. So why do you feel, I mean, do you feel that way, that you're drawn to improv because of, like I'm drawn to it because I know I'm awkward individually with people. Anybody else feel that way, that you got into it, or you feel awkward, that you feel more comfortable in this setting?
I'm not awkward with individuals. I prefer it. Not really. But if there's a party nowadays, like if there's a cast party and everyone's got together, it's Christmas time, you can pretty much be sure that after about 30 minutes or so, everyone will be gathered in little clumps, and I'll be by myself.
Yeah.
I simply will. I don't want to talk small talk. I fucking hate talking.
Yeah.
Did you check out the new Honda Accord? No, no. Has it got the bucket seats, or is it got the? No, my brother. Oh, you met my brother. Oh, your brother. Yeah, isn't that the guy? Didn't he have? Didn't he build his own brick barbecue? Yeah, he did. Fuck you. I don't want to do that. You do that. Hey, have you seen the new X-Men movie? Fuck you.
Anybody else in the group feel that way too? Because I know I feel that way. Does anybody else feel that way, that you're drawn to improv, or you like it because you feel awkward, like in interpersonal relationships when it's just small talk?
Yeah.
I mean, I was drawn. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
John.
Go ahead, John.
No, go ahead, Gary.
No, John, please. You've been monopolizing the conversation.
Yeah, really.
We've heard enough of Gary.
Yeah.
And John.
I just coughed. I don't know what you're talking about.
COVID.
Go ahead, Gary.
It's like Hutton up there.
I was going to say I was drawn to improv, or the reason I enjoy it is the camaraderie of it, and the fact that you kind of all start every session that I've been involved in, which I admit is limited, on an equal footing. There's no real hierarchy there. I'm not particularly socially awkward. I am finding the older I get, the less patience I have with people. So I tend to isolate myself a lot more than I used to. Yeah. But again, it goes back to the stuff that I used to tolerate, which is the stuff you were talking about, Tom. I no longer can, because, like, you know.
And neither can I. Neither can I.
Yeah.
I just can't.
But I'm putting that down to me getting older. But I'm not sure there's a correlation between that and improv for me. Yeah.
That is it. That's exactly what it is. It's like the Pink Floyd song, you know, time. Yeah, like, you know, shorter breath and one day closer to death.
Yeah.
I mean, you start hearing the ticking, and it's like, you're wasting my fucking time.
Taking away the moments that make up a dull day.
Yeah, I think we have like a finite amount of patience, and as you get older, it's like I just don't have time for this.
Well, personally,
John, cover your ears, John.
What's that?
I said, John, cover your ears. You don't want to hear.
No.
You're not going to want to get old when we're done.
I have more patience about certain things. I mean, I'm about certain things. I am have the patience of a saint. If I think people are trying, you know, if I think people are giving it their best shot, they're really giving it, fuck, I'll stick with you to the end. But if you're not trying and you don't give a fuck and you just want to talk about DC Comics, fuck you. You know, grow up.
Yeah,
I don't have a big problem with ignorance, because if you don't know something, you can learn it. I have a big problem with stupid. That's the thing that really gets me these days.
I think they're very correlated.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just saying, I just, you know, repetitive patterns. I don't have patience anymore for repetitive patterns. You come to me once, you got an issue, we talk it over. You come to me again, but a fourth time, I'm just done. My brain shuts off and I start to like twitch. My neck pulses. I'm just done. I'm out. I'm over it. You know, like, so I feel like that's something even in everyday life with all of us that, you know, I don't know, repetitive things just kind of just, you know, if you don't want to learn, you don't want to do better, you don't want to try, then that's on you. I mean, it's not my job to make you feel good about yourself every day of your life, you know? Like, go out and try harder, try something new. I mean, for me, I got into improv because I just want to do something completely different than I've ever done. I've always been a certain type of person my whole entire life, certain type of family, certain type of upbringing. And this is something I never, you know, I always felt like I had some sort of like, artistic ability in me, but I was always blue collar, Italian family, hardcore, tough guy, blah, 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 bullshit. I just didn't want anymore. The what?
No, I was just saying Philadelphia.
South
Yeah,
Jersey.
No, completely different. And this was my outlet. This was my outlet to do something different. And honestly, it's achieved every goal I've ever wanted it to achieve and more. You know, I now have a bunch of people that I respect in my life and that are better people than I probably had before. And I was able to kind of work through my demons on stage in front of people while gathering a laugh, which was also awesome.
You know, if you put a sign in front of your store that says hot dogs $1, and you spell it DOG''S, that's a mistake. That's not what an apostrophe is for. You do it again, fuck you. Ignorance that's the difference, Gary, between ignorance and stupid.
But what if the dollar belonged to the hot dog?
What's that?
But what if the dollar belonged to the hot dog?
Oh.
Yes. I found the hot dog's dollar on the street. Yes,
Yeah.
Then it's definitely you need that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with a new example now.
I found it right there. THEIR.
Right.
It was a response to what Lee was saying. It's just like, you know, you ever find like it being awkward that this was drawn more to you, and I find myself to be a very awkward person in social situations, but until I get comfortable with people, at least. But I think that's with most things anyway. But I like improv mostly. I mean, I got into it because I watched it a lot. And I thought I'd never actually do it until I got offered to take a class, and then that's how I got into it. So I would have never done it otherwise, most likely. But
yeah. I'm glad you did, buddy.
Yeah,
it's fun. I have fun. I like it. I enjoy it.
And you know,
Thanks for
John. Forward to doing it again.
So for me, it wasn't a matter of social awkward. Like, I prefer to have like one-on-one conversations. I love being in a room of people. But for me, you know, improv has kind of got me out. When I was in undergrad, like, I had this plan of exactly how I wanted everything to go. I'm sure like a lot of people have. And, you know, then it didn't work out. And by the time I got to med school, I'm now in my third year, and like 20 people have died since I've started med school alone around me. And I think just seeing like how precious life was, and it kind of, for me, improv gave me an avenue to, one, try to see something from somebody else's perspective, and to two, like, you know, how can I guess for me, like, almost like find the silver lining in anything, you know, and make the best of it. Because it's just given me a different perspective on like how I consider things, you know, and I feel like it's made me a lot more open-minded and also a better listener.
Yeah.
There's a great parallel with what you're saying to dementia. Because dementia,
right.
People with dementia have no concept of the past or the future. It's only about that present moment, the moment they're in.
So there's hope for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could be president.
So dementia and improv are very similar.
Yeah, that was my point exactly.
I don't see a problem with that. One of the few things we haven't spoken about either this time or most of the other times is funny. We talked about it a little bit, but that's not a word that's come up tonight. Not really, and that's good. I believe that's good. I believe that that's not what we're here for, or that's not what we're consciously here for. And funny, I mean, we don't talk about it much because it's a byproduct. It's not the thing we're doing. It's a byproduct of what we're doing. So if you do it right, it just happens. If you do it right, if you rub the sticks together right, smoke happens and fire starts. You don't have to talk about fire. You just have to rub the fucking sticks together. Of course, some people do have to talk about the fire, and that's why I fucking stay away from parties.
Hey, you get some new sticks?
So let's go around the horn here and do the thing that we do. I'm going to start with John, and we'll just go around from. Oh, it's got a message that my internet connection is unstable, so this may have to end. So.
We're unstable.
Quick, John, something. Is it my internet connection, or you're not saying anything?
No, it's just realizing how improv, I guess, can be therapeutic and just change the way you are around people, and it just helps with day and day and with social interactions and stuff like that. It brought this conversation alone me more attention to the fact, like, how much it's actually influenced my life than I actually thought. So, yeah.
Can we do it? Can we do it all at once? Can we try?
I have a dog in the back.
Okay. Paul, I got you up, Paul.
Okay. I'm just going to say that when you were describing that exercise where everybody kind of picks somebody to impersonate, my hands like started to sweat. Now that I'm talking about, that's a scary thought. So it's probably a good thing for us to do. But yeah. So.
Good one to miss.
Ready and okay. Dan.
Tonight was a good night. We got a lot of stuff in it. I feel like there's an energy, and I'm a big guy on energy. I like energy, no matter what. Like, even if you're down, you have energy. Like, you always just put everything out there, and let it come back. And I feel like with improv, if you go out there and you put all your energy into that moment, all your energy into that moment, and you focus it, no matter what, it's going to turn out good. Because you just kind of put everything out there, and it's definitely changed my life, and it's all good stuff.
Okay, you there? Just like in person. Okay. Sarah. Got you, Sarah.
I don't know. I'm just really grateful for this group. I think that I got a little bit burnt out with school and everything that was going on, and I don't know, this week I feel like I've been just extra grateful for being able to slow down, but also I don't know, doing this every Thursday has kind of reminded me I fell in love with improv in the first place, and then just really grateful for the outlet that you guys have created, that we can all just come together, and everyone has different stuff and different lives going on, but I don't know, I'm definitely really grateful for this group. So
cool. Gary.
There's a lot of talk in almost every area of the world of teamwork, but I think improv, and the thing I'm kind of been listening to tonight, is it really is the true pure teamwork in its purest sense. Because none of us can stand up on stage or become stand-up comedians, but you can't do improv on your own. You have to rely on other people, and you have to give and take, and it's all a team. And I feel like Sarah just said, I'm happy to be part of this small team as well. So I've enjoyed that. And my only other thought is I'm not going to be inviting Tom to any of my parties. But other than that, we're all good. So that's... Okay.
Lee, I got you now.
Go away, go away, go away, go away.
Somebody wake up.
Hi,
Somebody wake up,
who
Lee.
are you?
The voice is coming from inside the house. Yeah.
Have you done any funny things?
No, go away. We're almost done.
The word funny came up.
Funny.
This is
Funny.
the highlight of the night.
Have fun.
Lee, it's you.
I was gonna say tonight. I guess this is our fourth meeting,
Sixth.
Of the sixth one. I felt like this was the most organic conversation we've ever had as a group, or the conversation just flowed naturally, and we got into some really good stuff. And I think that's really cool as a group that we're starting to feel comfortable and letting the conversation go where it needs to go, and that's an awesome feeling.
Cool. Shall we? And 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, Lauren, I got you.
So what he just said, I feel like it's good that we're getting comfortable, but we're about to have to be like back in person eventually. So like, I feel like this group was pretty dang comfortable before. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just me. Anyways, what I was gonna say is
I agree.
that I noticed like my mind going like kind of dark with what we were talking about tonight, like the dark side of being the only person on the stage, or like the dark side or the lonely side of being the director. And that's just something that has never occurred to me before. So I appreciate you. This is your note for the night, Tom. Thank you.
Yeah. And my thing is, that what you just said is, it's not just directors, it's anybody. It's a teacher or a football coach or a basketball coach or a captain of a hockey team or whatever, anyone whose job it is to enable everyone else to do their best. So hopefully I'll see you next time. We'll do this again. Check us out. But tomorrow night we're doing Read My Lips again. John won't be there this particular week because he's going away, but he'll be back hopefully next week. We got a bunch of good people. Barry's going to be in it.
Nice.
Ben's going to be in it tomorrow night. That'll be cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Then we got Are You Serious on Saturday, both at 9 o'clock on Facebook. They're just going to be funny. They always are. So check it out. The more, the merrier. I'll see you guys.
Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Good moment.